to the cloud. Okay. So now WebDriver is, as we discussed already, Selenium WebDriver or WebDriver is same. So WebDriver is the latest version of Selenium. It's one of the component. So it has removed a lot of drawbacks are available in RC and introduced new features in Selenium. So first Selenium WebDriver started with the Selenium 2.0, then Selenium 3.0, and now it's the Selenium 4. And so WebDriver was developed by Google, and it's a automation framework, so which allows you to execute your test cases against different browsers and operating system combination. So basically WebDriver is a collection of language bindings to drive your browser. So basically WebDriver means in the browser itself you have a collection of language bindings. Those will drive your browser. Browser means your application. In the browser only will open application that will drive our browser. So you can make your own test cases based on the language binding. So language wise libraries are developed by, so browser specific methods, all those methods you can call and you can write your test cases, you can build your test case. So all ready made, you don't need to do anything. Just you should know how to call the methods, what that method will do. The purpose of method you should know, and how to call that method, where to call. That's it. You don't need to do that. Everything they already created. So they have interfaces, classes, ready-made everything. All these are APIs. That APIs you can call in your test cases. So that's the WebDriver means. So why is Selenium becoming popular is it's an open source tool. So no need to pay money. If you want to use the automation tool, you don't need to pay. That is the one of the main advantages. Selenium supports multiple programming languages. Like C#, Ruby, Python, Java, JavaScript. So all these programming languages are supported by Selenium. You can write your test cases using any one of the programming languages. So we chose the Java, right? But some other people can choose Python, Ruby, C#. It's up to them. Whatever the programming language they are convenient, they can choose that. And another feature is you don't need to, you choose the programming language that is application developed language you don't need to use. So maybe application designed and developed by PHP, and you don't need to use that. You can use your own language. That's an independent, to the application development language and your automation test language. Both can be different. That's another advantage. And also, so Selenium supports multiple browsers. You can run your test case on any browser like Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Opera, all these browsers you can run your test cases. Any browser you can run. And Selenium has a very dynamic community that is backed by Google. That means it's provides all the information, so bug fixes and documentation, everything by Google, and they are supported by any kind of issues that public is going to file and facing the problems. And Selenium has a dynamic mechanism to identify web page elements like XPath, CSS. So that will be used by Selenium to identify the web objects. And also Selenium supports custom frameworks like keyword-driven, data-driven, hybrid frameworks are supported by Selenium. There is a integrated frameworks already in Selenium itself. There are frameworks like TestNG, JUnit, NUnit, Test Unit, and so on. So these frameworks are inbuilt in the Selenium code. So TestNG, JUnit frameworks are who are all using Java as a programming language to write their automation test cases. If you're using a Java, you can use both TestNG and JUnit with Selenium. If you're using C#, you can use NUnit. If you're using Python, PyTest, you can use. If you're using Ruby, Test Unit framework, you can use. Language-wise, built-in frameworks are available in Selenium code itself. So that's another advantage of this one, right? So all this makes Selenium very powerful. And also another drawback is Selenium doesn't support Windows-based application testing. Even in the web application, there are windows going to appear. Like when you trying to upload a file, the window will come. That Windows doesn't support. That's one drawback. Basically, it supports only web applications testing. So this is the advantages and features. But what is the difference between WebDriver and remote control? So WebDriver is very faster because of simple architecture, and RC is very slow because of its complicated architecture. As I draw last time when how it derived WebDriver from remote control, I have shown you. So that diagram, if you see, there is a mediator between browser and code, but here a direct interaction will be there. So WebDriver directly talks to the browser, but RC needs the help of RC server in order to talk with the browser. So WebDriver API is more concise. RC APIs are duplicate. So and confusing because for one action in the WebDriver, one method only will be there, one API. But in the remote control, for one action, they will give multiple methods, multiple APIs. That will confuse when to use which method you will confuse. That's a problem with the WebDriver. Remote control. So WebDriver supports HTML unit browser, but now in Selenium 4 that is removed completely. So RC doesn't support HTML unit browser. Basically, HTML unit browser is nothing but a browserless. So maybe you can run without any browser your test case. That's HTML unit browser means. So WebDriver supports mobile application testing like Android and iPhone. So there is a separate component is there in the WebDriver. Appium tool is there. So that will use the WebDriver protocol. So that's the WebDriver. Even you can do mobile application testing with Appium. The RC doesn't support that. Remaining all features are common because Selenium RC code only merged in the WebDriver, right? So like Selenium supports multiple programming language, RC also supports. So WebDriver supports multiple browsers, but some new browsers RC doesn't support, like Microsoft Edge, it doesn't support. WebDriver supports. So WebDriver supports multiple operating systems. RC also supports. So WebDriver supports multiple built-in frameworks. RC also supports that. These are some of the common features, but unique features still 5 only, right? So that's the main difference between RC and WebDriver. So what are the limitations? So as I mentioned already, WebDriver has no built-in commands that automatically generate the test results after running your test cases. So built-in test results are not there. That's one drawback. WebDriver report is very bad because it would be in HTML file. It doesn't have automatic, but you have to depend on the TestNG framework or JUnit framework. So if you're using other built-in frameworks, on that you have to depend. Inbuilt reporting mechanism is not there in the WebDriver. And also WebDriver doesn't support Windows-based applications. Windows-based application testing you cannot do. And what other you cannot automate with Selenium is a bitmap comparison is not possible using Selenium. Automating CAPTCHA is not possible with Selenium. So barcode reading is not possible with Selenium. So these are all the main things are not possible with Selenium. And so this is the Selenium 3 architecture. This diagram is Selenium 3 architecture. And then we'll see Selenium 4 architecture also. First understand Selenium 3 architecture. Then we can so understand the Selenium 4. So Selenium 3 is basically, as I mentioned, language-wise libraries are there. So each language, the WebDriver methods are developed by each language. So the methods will be there, and when you send a code, it will convert into JSON wire protocol. That means it will convert into JSON format internally. That will given to the HTTP server, that is called browser drivers. Every browser has one browser driver class. Like a Chrome browser has a Chrome driver class. Chrome driver is the class name. That is a HTTP server. And Firefox has a Firefox driver class. Edge has a Edge driver class. Like this, your browser name plus a driver keyword will add. That is the class name in Selenium.
Hi Ramesh, this is Shafiq here.
Yeah.
Sorry, to interrupt. Like, did you share anything? I can see only PDF file in the screen.
No, I shared it. You're not able to see this diagram?
No, I can see only the PDF file. No one can see, I guess.
Oh. Let me share again. Now?
Yeah, that's fine. No.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I don't know. Also, 15 minutes class is okay. Fine. So this is the language-wise bindings. When you write a code using these methods, that particular language-related APIs you will write in the code, your test script code. So that code in the UI you will write in the Eclipse, right? That code will convert internally into JSON format. That JSON will be given to your browser driver class. So for example, you want to open the application URL, you will write a driver dot get method, and then you will give application URL. And the get method is a parameterized method. The parameter is your application URL you have to give. Which application you are testing, that application URL you have to give. But it should start with HTTP. You should not give www dot. If you give www dot, it will throw error. So you have to start with HTTP because this supports HTTP protocols. That's why you have to start with your URL HTTP or HTTPS, and the JSON format it will convert, and it will give to your server. So this server, because this browser driver class is in each real browser. So every browser driver class is that specific real browser inside this, it is there already. So that will interact with your browser application and perform the action there, and response you will get back. So this is the how the flow it will happen. There are basically 4 components here, right? So client libraries, JSON wire protocol, browser driver classes, real browsers. So these are the 4 components in Selenium 3. But Selenium 4, what they did is they removed this JSON wire protocol. So that we'll discuss later. Okay. So are you clear? When you send a request, let me show you how it will convert into the code. So basically, these are the 4 components, and so Selenium supports multiple libraries like Java, Python, Ruby, C#, JavaScript, and Selenium developers have developed the language bindings to allow Selenium support multiple programming languages. So because they developed all the WebDriver APIs using each programming language. Language-wise, they have written the method logic. Basically, WebDriver is an interface. So interface, what will be there, you know already, only abstract methods, right? The abstract methods are developed in each browser class. So that browser class inside, the methods logic is written. Language-wise that they have done that. That's why Selenium supports multiple browsers. And JSON wire protocol, JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. It is a lightweight communicator between client and server. Whatever the commands you are sending, it will convert into JSON format, and it will give that to your HTTP server. And that that server will send that to real browsers. Each browser has a one browser driver class. So browser driver class communicate with the respective browser without revealing the internal logic of the browser's functionality, how it has work and all. They don't reveal, but it will go and communicate with the real browser and perform the action in the application, and the response will send back to you. So that is the how it will see. Now you will write a code like this. So WebDriver interface driver equal to new Chrome driver, and driver dot get, and you will give your application URL. So this will convert into this format. So this is the JSON format, right? This is the JSON format, key value pair. So this will be so every request will go to HTTP server, and the server will receive this request into JSON format, and that will perform the action on the real browser, and it will send back. So because so there is the request is a post request, then there will be an action on the browser. If the request is a get request, then corresponding response will be generated for the browser. And basically, post request means if there is an action like a click action, type action, getting the data. So that action is there. That's a post call. We will call for that method. If there is a just getting the information from the browser, like getting the text from the page, that is a get call. Just getting the information from the browser is a get call. So get request. So this is the how your internally the Selenium WebDriver works till Selenium 3. So that I'll just pause now. I'll see.